my name is Tiffany, and today I'm going to talk to you about Marilyn Monroe. And I know all of you have heard of her, all of you have seen her, and probably some of you know her life. But I want to talk about her because I find it really interesting that she has all these pictures, and she always looks so happy and she looks so perfect, but she had such an unstable lifestyle. So basically, I'm just going to tell you her right out. So I'm going to start with her birth. Here's her mom, and Gladys, which was her name, Gladys Baker. She gave birth to Marilyn in Los Angeles, California, on June 1st, 1926. And her dad wasn't around. Some people say it was because he died. Some people say it was because he was never in the picture and he left her mom. But her mom basically struggled to take care of Marilyn, and she also had severe mental illness, so she gave her up to an orphanage. So Marilyn lived for 7 years in the orphanage, and actually her name wasn't Marilyn, her name was Norma Jean Mutterson, or some people say it's Baker. People are not really sure. But she lived in the orphanage for 7 years, and her mom basically came back and just ripped her off. She fought for Marilyn, and she got her back, and pretty much didn't even last for a year because she became mentally ill again, and she just gave her up to her best friend who took care of her. And her best friend loved Marilyn. She spoiled her. Used to take her to get her hair done. Told her that she was going to be a big star one day. But she got married, and her husband and her were having economical difficulties, so she gave her up to one of her family members, an older lady called Anne, and Marilyn lived with Anne until Anne couldn't take care of her anymore because she became way too old. So Marilyn moved back in with Grace after a while, and what happened was now Marilyn was older and she was more beautiful. Her husband, well, this is what Marilyn said, would try to rape her. So Grace was disturbed by this, so she sent her to an orphanage. She felt bad for Marilyn, and she took her back, but eventually they had to move because of her husband's job. So she married her off when she was 16 years old to their neighbor, who was 21. And his name was James Dougherty, I don't know how to say that. And he went to the army after a while. They were only married for 4 years. She worked in a parachute factory while they were married, and she started doing modeling because they were doing this propaganda for women working in the war, and the photographer thought she was so beautiful, so she kept doing more photography and started modeling. James didn't like this, and eventually they were so far apart that they started becoming more distant, and when he came back, they got divorced. So Marilyn kept on with her modeling career, and this was actually her first photo of the war. And as you can tell, she was actually not a real blonde, she was brunette. And you can see her earlier pictures here. And Marilyn decided that she wanted to become a bigger star. So she continued modeling, then she got a contract with Fox, and that's when she decided to change her image. She dyed her hair blonde, she changed her name to Marilyn Monroe, and she also started wearing more provocative clothing. She had 31 movies in total. Here are some of the most famous ones. There was a lot of them that she really didn't get much credit for because she had minor roles. But these are really famous movies. I don't know if you guys heard of them. Gentlemen's Prefer Blonde, that's a really famous one, and that's where she sings the song Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. And this one here, The 7-Year Itch, is where the famous picture where she's standing on the top of the train, railways, whatever, and her white dress blows up. So I'm sure you guys all seen that picture before. And then The Misfits was her last movie. It was basically a disappointment, and this was when she was going through a lot of trouble. She was actually making a movie, but she didn't get to finish it because she died while the movie was being made. She was also on Playboy. She was on the first Playboy, 1953, December. And after she died, she has been in a lot of Playboys all over the world, but she actually never posed for either one of them. Like she never took a picture for Playboy. And this one, as you can see, is from 2005. Of course, she wasn't alive at that time. And she, after James, she got married twice. This one is Joe DiMaggio, and he was a retired baseball star. He was really famous. He saw her on a picture, and he decided he wanted to date with her. So he told his manager he got a date with her, and they got married soon after. And Joe had jealousy issues, and when he saw the picture of her with her dress blowing up, and he knew that the whole world was going to see that, he got really jealous, and 2 weeks after they got divorced. Their marriage didn't even last for a year. And then she married Arthur Miller. He was a playwright, and that was her longer marriage. They eventually got divorced because she was having a lot of mental problems. She was really emotionally unstable. She also had several affairs. One of them was with Frank Sinatra, as you can see here. That was really short. And then she also had an affair with the Kennedys. And she had with 2 brothers, John F. Kennedy, the president, and his brother Robert. They also say that she had an affair with Bobby, but I don't think that went for a long time, or at least I don't think she loved him. He did love her, but they say that her true love was John. Ooh, sorry. What I also found interesting was that at some point in her life she was a size 12, and as you can see here, she's kind of thick, and it's very interesting because she's probably the biggest sex symbol, and today girls are so like want to be skinny and the smallest size ever, and here's a woman that is gorgeous, is a size 12, and nobody ever put her down for that. So I thought that was very interesting. She had a lot of psychological problems. Here's one. She had borderline personality. She was an alcoholic. She was addicted to barbiturates. She suffered from insomnia, depression. She once overdosed over sleeping pills. She still didn't die. And she had to get her stomach pumped for drugs several times during her last years. Her psychiatrist actually had to take her as a full-time job because taking care of her became a 24/7 thing. She was so dependent on him. And eventually, she died. Some people say that it was suicide, that she overdosed with sleeping pills. Some people think that she was actually murdered because the way she was found, she was naked and she was laying face down, and it was kind of awkward to find her that way if she was actually committing suicide, because when people overdose, they usually vomit or they have like saliva coming out. And she was pretty clean and she looked normal. So her death is pretty much a mystery. And Marilyn also inspired art. As you can see, this is a really famous art from a really famous artist, Andy Warhol. And you can see this in bags and many other places, and it has also inspired other people to have pictures of themselves looking this way. And she has influenced today in cultures. You can see there's Paris Hilton dressed like her, and a lot of people try to copy her style. There's, it's not really noticeable, but it's a woman. She has a costume of Marilyn Monroe. A lot of people wear Marilyn Monroe on Halloween. And that one is not very visible either, but it's supposed to be Lindsay Lohan, and then that's Marilyn Monroe, and basically she did a photo shoot just like Marilyn Monroe did, and basically she was just copying her. And here are books. People have written more than 40 books about Marilyn Monroe, and there's so many of them, and people actually buy them. So I think it's so amazing that people find her so interesting. And this is a woman that only lived for 36 years, and she has such a huge impact on culture and on people. And I just thought it was very nice to talk about her.